how important is it for you to stay relevant when it comes to your cuts? Like, do you chase the new fad haircut, or do you stick, or you have like a certain amount of cuts that you stick to?
Um, I do have a preference in the cuts that I like to do, but if you want to be paid and if you want to stay relevant, you have to stay on top of the latest haircuts. It's a must. You have to. Because after a while, you are going to get tired of doing the same old haircuts at a time when all the little kids wanted mohawks. And, after you conquer the mohawk, it becomes a little boring. So you need challenges. These new haircuts are challenges. There's a haircuts a lot of our Latino brothers wear, where they get a fade and it's really dark around this area. And this area right here is called the parietal ridge area on the head. And you can see it's really, really dark and bulky. When we were in barber school, we were taught no bulk. This area right here shouldn't be bulky. It should be bald hair or either a light fade and you fade up into the dark portion of the hair. That's the fade. But sometimes you get barbers who they haven't developed their eye yet or their hand skills, and that's where some of these trendy haircuts come in. So a lot of haircuts that have been actually a lack of skill have become trends. Yeah, it's a funny game, but I love it. You gotta love it to want to come in and get up every day and basically, not get a check. You know what I'm saying? Every 2 weeks, you're getting a check every first of the month and the 15th or whatever. No. If I don't go to work, I don't eat. So, but you gotta love what you do. It makes you get up out of the bed. I never think like, I'm the best barber and this, that. It's a lot of barbers that are very, I feel are probably a lot better than me. I just feel I'm good for what my customers need.
How often do you find like generations keeping up with you? What I mean by that is a father gets haircut by you and then turns around, raises their child and brings their child to you. How often does that happen?
Oh, usually, actually, that's half of my clientele. I have younger, young clients that come to me for either in middle school, high school. And I have clients who, the majority of my clients who are young fathers, they may be in their 30s or, late 30s to 40s, and they have children, and they may come in, get a haircut, say I'm new in town, I'm looking for a barber, and next thing you know, they like the cut, they're coming back. They're gonna either refer someone to you, either they're, saying, well, I got my son, I gotta bring my boys back here, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I have to make sure that, you're staying on top of your game, you're engaging with with your customers. You have a little, conversation, you're conversating with them, And if you're good at what you do, it's not always about, like, what I noticed, it's not always about your skill. It's about how you make people feel. You know, sometimes, yeah, the cut is definitely a big part of it, but it's also how you make people feel, make them want to come back and spend money with you. You know, it's like, yeah, I remember my brother telling me, when, you know, him cutting somebody, client, man, that dude talked the guy off the ledge, man. You know, go home and he was talking about committing suicide or whatever. But after a good haircut, and you know, him talking with my brother, man, he talked him off the ledge. So one thing about being a barber, I realized you do hold a lot of power. You know what I mean? Like a good haircut and a good conversation can go a long way.
No pun intended, but we're gonna have to cut that up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, you know, when you come get your cut, we usually have decent, you know, conversation going on, you know, telling me about the things that you got going on in your life. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, man, they say that the barber, man, or the barber shop was a place to congregate,
definitely,
you know?
definitely was. And it still is, you know. You know, after COVID, things did change a little bit, you know. A lot of barbers kind of got, you know, a little scared, a little shook. You know, they didn't want a lot of people in their shops. And it's still like that, you know. Everybody wants, you know, appointments nowadays, you know, because we understand parents are busy, everybody's busy, everybody's on the go. But that's something that was like a staple in the community where you were able, you know, to go, the young brothers along with the older brothers. You know, you got the street pharmacists along with the police officers and the mailmen. Everybody in the community will come to the barbershop, you know, and that's where everybody got school, you know, a lot of laughter, a lot of jokes, a good conversation. And the young brothers often learn from the older brothers as well, you know. So, yeah, I think they're making its way back, you know. Definitely think it's making its way back. I look forward to seeing that.
how has social media help or not help you grow within barbering?
Well, I could say yes and no. It has helped me. I used social media early on. You know, the post. I can honestly say I don't think I really ever got, you know, clients and, you know, off of social media. I know some friends who have, but I met other good barbers. I met people that I was able to take a course from. You know, I learned a lot of different other things and other aspects of the barbering industry that put me on to whether it was different, you know, tools, whether it's the class that I wanted to take, and get just important barber information, you know. So I believe social media is definitely a good tool, whatever you use it for. And I only use it basically for business, being a barber, you know, and also the mentoring program that I'm involved with. So, yeah. Gotta stay connected.
So when you say tools, like, so tell me and whoever's watching the new age technology that's come about in barbering.
Okay. So everybody knows, you know, that for the past maybe 10 years or so, the cordless clippers is the wave, you know. Like I said, besides we talked about enhancements, things like that, but the cordless clipper basically has made our jobs a lot easier. We don't trip up over our cords. Barbers are not, their bills are not exorbitant from the electrical bills or whatever. So staying up on the latest tools will definitely enhance your skills and your barbering business.
I guess my last question for you is, where do you go now? Where are you going now in the country?
Well, like I said, barbering is something that I don't know how much longer. I'm not going to put a stamp on when I want to walk away from cutting hair, but if I do, I want to keep going. I'm looking into instructing, holding classes, teaching younger barbers. Also, I'm interested in the retail side, either an e-store selling supplies. So yeah, I'm looking at
merch.
that. Yeah, merchandise, tools. Just, I love this industry. This industry has fed me for 15 years and my family. We were able to send kids to college, so it's an honest profession, and it was something that I wanted to do. When I was looking for something for work, I wanted to be in part of the community, and this is a good way to be in the community, to touch the people in the community. You can do a lot of things in the community, back to school drives, I know some barbers, they do, what do you call it?
Free haircuts or something?
They do free haircuts, and even they do mental health classes and high blood pressure is something that's running rampant in our communities. So barbers is like the heart of the community. You know what I mean? Like all barbershops is not hood based, and I'm not, talking about the hood base because I come from the hood. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, the barbers do a lot for their community. Okay, support your local barber.
And I'm pretty sure hygiene plays a factor in it too.
Oh, most definitely. Hygiene definitely plays a big factor in it. So, you brothers, make sure that you're washing your hair, making sure that you wash your scalp. Whatever. You brothers who have locks, you have the broccoli cuts with the taper, the locks, the twist on top. Go get your scalp cleansed. Okay.
I know you were talking to me one time, a conversation you was having with me. There's a difference between cleansing your scalp and cleaning your hair or something like that.
Oh yes. Yeah. Most of us, before I went to barber school, I knew nothing about cleansing my scalp. A clean scalp is a way to healthy hair. You know what I mean? Some people don't. They come to the barber shop. You see a barber and he's combing your hair. He's checking for different things. He's checking to see if you have scalp disorders, if you have dandruff, if you have flakes. So most barbers, if they really good barbers, they're gonna recommend things for you to make sure, because if you don't have a healthy scalp, it can lead to other disorders. So make sure that you either get your scalp cleansed at least 2 to 3 times a year, but washing your hair as needed.
I appreciate that, bro.
Well, anytime, brother. Come by anytime and get a cut.
Performer.